Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Alright, thank you all so much for being here. I would like to give a big thank you to Joypana for giving me this chance to speak. And before I begin, I would first like to apologize for any offenses I may have knowingly or unknowingly committed during the class. I'd also like to offer my sincerest gratitude to our Srila Prabhupada and my Guru Maharaj, and pray that whatever I say today may be in line with Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. If anything I share is of value, all the credit belongs to them, and if I make any mistakes, that is entirely my own. So, today I would like to speak about the power of, what is this? Mind. Okay, another word, what goes on here? Thought, yes, the power of our thoughts, and how just one thought, when repeatedly focused on, has the ability to shape our consciousness and even change the direction of our life. So, would you agree with me? Do you think that one thought can change? Yeah?
Yes.
Maybe? Yes? Okay. Sometimes someone might say something and then you might just get stuck on that little detail and then you'll never be able to forget it, and then it plagues you for the entire day, maybe even a week. Yeah, someone maybe have an experience with that. You're nodding your head very curiously. You're down with the rush to go. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anybody else? Krish, do you have a thought that could have played your mind?
Yes. I can.
Okay. Alright. So Krishna speaks a lot about this, a lot about the mind and its power of thinking in the Bhagavad Gita, especially focused on chapter 6. And through a few verses today, I would like to explore how our thoughts develop, why the mind feels so difficult to control, and how Bhakti can give us a practical way to work with the mind rather than to fight against it. So we'll start with the invocation prayers, and we can all chant these together. Om Jnana Tasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurum Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Visham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kalamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagamanunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Namostute Tata Kanchana Gaurami Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapalvachasya Kripa Sindhu Paritanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Pashakyalishvarine. There's a famous quote Srila Prabhupada has said on many occasions. It is to always think of Krishna and
Never forget Krishna.
Say that a little bit louder.
Never forget Krishna.
So always remember Krishna and never forget him, okay? So this is a very important thing. And that shows to us that our thoughts have to have who in them? Krishna. And when we think of Krishna, we automatically think of Krishna's Krishna's pastimes, yes. What else do we think of?
Devotees.
What did he say?
Devotees.
Devotees, yes. Anything else?
Service.
Service with Krishna. What else? Krishna's infinite, guys. You guys should be having infinite answers.
Form.
Krishna's form, how beautiful he is. That's very true.
His smile.
His smile, his names. We'll finish until I get to 10.
Qualities.
Qualities, okay.
Strength.
Strength, Krishna is very strong.
Teachings.
His teachings in the Bhagavad Gita, nice, and all the other Shastras.
His friends.
You said friends,
Oh,
right? Did we say
desires.
friends? What did he say?
Desires.
Krishna's desires. Wow, okay. So we already, just as soon as we think of Krishna, there's so many things to associate. What's there? Okay. So many things that we can associate with him. But before I would like to begin and start reading from the Bhagavad Gita, I'd like to speak about the experiences that all of us go through in everyday life in relation to our mind, right? And this topic touches every single one of us because all of us, hopefully all of us think, okay, on a daily basis. We have thoughts that constantly run through our mind. And a lot of the times we cannot control the thoughts that come into our mind, right? They just happen. And there's a quote by the American psychologist and philosopher William James, and he says that thoughts become perception, perception becomes reality, alter your thoughts, and you alter your reality. Does that make sense? Maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, okay, it does make sense. Do you know any personalities in the Shastras who have made their thoughts or have their thoughts become so much, it consumed them so much that it altered their perception of reality? Srila Prabhupada, who was he always thinking of? Making temples, okay. He's thinking of his Guru Maharaj, yeah, following the instructions of his Guru Maharaj.
What do you think it changed his reality? I mean, it was already his reality.
I think it did change his reality a little bit because I think Srila Prabhupada, he was so positive. He was so positive that he could come to America and make a change based off of the instructions of his Guru Maharaj. He was so, because nobody else could think of, you know, we have Sumati Maharajis, he was like, oh, you're a 70-year-old man, you can't go to America. Everyone's there, but it altered his reality, his perception of reality, that he could actually do it. Because of, he was always thinking of his Guru Maharaj. Who else?
Dhruva.
Who?
Dhruva.
Dhruva Maharaj, yes, Prabhu. I'll be speaking about him later in class. Do leave me to it. But you can give a little bit.
He was consumed by a desire to, I guess, get on his
We could get a microphone too for everybody.
I guess he was disappointed he couldn't sit on his father's lap, and his mom told him only God could help him, and he was consumed by that.
Very true. Yeah. Anybody else? You said Prahlad Maharaj? Someone said, or no? You said Prahlad Maharaj? You can give a little on how it affected his reality.
It was in the moon, and he heard from out of the moon, and his thoughts started to arise and change his whole life. And
Yes.
change his father. Or he saved his father.
Okay, so we've given really great examples, very positive examples of great personalities. Is there like an opposite? Maybe some other? Bharata Maharaj. Oh, Hiranyakashipu. Whoa, okay, so we have two different. Let's talk about Bharata Maharaj first and his thoughts and how they affected his reality.
So he's a bit of both. He's both positive and negative because for most of his thoughts that were positive, he was following his devotion properly, doing his regulative activities. But then his thoughts at the end of his life were focused on the baby deer that he had found and took care of, up to the point where at the end of his life, instead of focusing on his bhakti that he was cultivating, his mind was focused on the deer, and it completely altered his reality next life because he became a deer.
Wow.
But luckily, because he had accumulated a lot of potent spiritual practice during his previous life, he retained his consciousness from that experience, so that in his next life he was able to complete his cycle.
That's great, Linda. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then one other big demon we might have. Kamsa. What about Kamsa?
So he's always thinking about Krishna. But as Krishna was always on his mind. He was always terrified of him and wanted to destroy him.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Good. Sorry.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. The reality, I don't know what that changed about his reality.
He couldn't see Krishna.
Sorry. He couldn't see Krishna.
He couldn't see Krishna for who Krishna really was, right? Krishna, what are the 6 qualities of Krishna? Name one. If you know one. Strength.
Beauty.
The strength,
Beauty,
beauty,
strength,
renunciation.
renunciation, opulence.
Right. So it doesn't matter how good someone is. Krishna has all these amazing qualities. He has unlimited potencies, and he's like the best, right? But still, Kamsa was so consumed by his thoughts that his perception became reality, and he couldn't see Krishna for who Krishna actually was. Because Kamsa was living in his mind constantly, thinking about Krishna in such a negative light that it didn't matter what Krishna did. Okay, he was doing everything, right? I couldn't even say he could have, but it didn't matter because Kamsa would always have a negative outlook on Krishna just because of the thoughts that were going through his mind. So it shows that the way that we think determines the way we live. And we don't just have thoughts, we are being shaped by them. And from the very, very beginning of our lives, especially living in a modern day world, we have so many different stimulants that we are giving to our minds at every single second. We watch movies, we listen to music, there's sports, entertainment, there's all this social media content that we are consuming on a daily basis. And the list is endless, right? So the problem isn't that they exist. The problem is that we have lost control over how we use them, and slowly we've allowed these stimulants to gain control over us. These stimulants have gained control over our attention, they've gained control over our habits, and ultimately how we think. So, when we sit down to chant, is it a surprise that our mind is running here and there?
No.
Because what are we feeding to it every single day?
Garbage.
Exactly. So if we're doing all of these things on a regular basis, how is it possible for our mind to sit still and focus on the holy name? Because we are not reading Srila Prabhupada's books 24 hours a day. We are not chanting 24 hours a day. But we are always on our phones. We are always talking to people outside, and we may not always be discussing Krishna. So when we have these things in our lives, it's very easy for our mind to use that small split second just where we might be doing something else and immediately take us out of our chanting. So it doesn't matter who you are, what degree you have, or what position, what you work as, anything like that. All of us are affected by this degree of being dictated by our thoughts. Right? Thoughts that are shaped by what we repeatedly feed the mind. So this is why the topic
Were
is...
you going to share something on the screen?
Yes, Prabhu, I will. And this is like...
Because I see you looking, but something else.
Yeah, I have my phone here. My secret. I have some notes. Yes. So yeah, this is why the topic is so important. Because the Bhagavad Gita doesn't just teach us how to change the world, it teaches us how to understand our mind. Okay? So this brings us to the first verse I would like to speak about today, where Krishna begins diagnosing the root cause of the problem. Now we have it here. This is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 62, and the title is... Nice. Alright. We can have... Nada, would you like to read this? No repeating this, you can just read it.
Vishayan Pumsha Sangaskeshu Pachayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Pichayate.
You need a translation?
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises.
Explanation?
So, just by listening to what your senses tell you and not having any control, you can have so many bad effects from it. So that's why it's so important to keep them under control.
Okay. Do you do anything in your life to keep your senses under control?
I try to do my chanting first thing in the morning.
Oh, that's really nice.
Because if I don't do it now, then I probably won't do it later.
That's cool. So Monday, what do you do to keep your senses under control? Or do you just
just let them roam free. But like while I'm chanting, if my mind is like wandering, I try to like bring it back to like thinking about Krishna and not going down a rabbit hole of what I did during
Okay.
the whole day and stuff.
Apart from chanting, in your daily life, like at school, do you do anything to keep your senses under control? Okay, that. Alright, and then is there any word that sticks out to anybody in this translation?
Attachment.
Attachment, okay.
I think contemplating.
Contemplating.
Yeah.
Lust. Whoa.
Anger.
Anger. One more? You said all the key words. Okay, yeah. So for me, it was contemplating because when I read this translation, I was seeing that Krishna says that the problem begins with contemplation, because we are contemplating the objects of the senses, right? The mind is offering us thousands of thoughts every single day, and most of them are automatic, right? We cannot control the thoughts that come into our mind. But the moment we start contemplating on these thoughts, that's when what begins to form? Attachment. So we contemplate, then we get attached, right? So a really simple everyday example of this, like mostly everyone has gone through, is, when you like somebody, at first it's just a little thought, it just comes up in your mind here and there, oh, they did this, they did that, oh, that's so nice, and it's nothing serious, right? There's nothing, you're not holding any feelings towards it or anything, it's just like little thoughts that are coming to your mind. But we choose, because it feels so good, right in the beginning, oh, this person is so cute, to keep liking them and to keep thinking about them, right? So you replay conversations, you imagine scenarios, you talk to friends about it, and then slowly, without realizing, because you're contemplating the object of your senses, aka the guy you like so much, what forms? Attachment. You guys agree? Makes sense? I think it's like really practical every day. Everyone's been through this. And then at a certain point, this thought is no longer just a thought, because it becomes a part of your identity. You start identifying yourself without the thought, because you cannot live without that thought. Your mood just starts even depending on that person, right? If you really, really like somebody, if they start, oh, they said this to me, oh, now I'm so sad, blah, 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 right? So that's the part Krishna is speaking about. At some point, yes, that's exactly what it says. So there's a story with this in the Ramayana about your thoughts, contemplating, you develop attachment a little bit. Maybe not this, actually. But, okay, when thinking of something, while thinking, maybe someone said something to you and you can't stop thinking about it in the Ramayana. Someone was thinking a lot after somebody made just a small comment to them. And then something big happened. Sorry, I'm being very, very general here. KK. Yes, KK. The story of KK. Sorry, I didn't explain it very well, but someone said something really small to her, Mathura, her maidservant, and it was just a small thought, right? And she said, no, I will never do this. But inwardly, KK kept contemplating that thought again and again and again. And then what happened? That's how the Ramayana started, yeah. So you can see here that it's very, very important also to choose the association that you keep from this story. Because Mantra is there, and a lot of the times we say, oh yeah, that doesn't affect me at all. But it comes, and you never even realize how much your thoughts and how much your mind has control over you until you're in a position where it actually starts to become action, right? So we can go to the purport. Nalini, we can start.
Sure. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagements, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects. And the only method, shall I go on? And the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious.
You can give a small summary.
It's a short summary of 10 lines, probably I have read, is that engage your senses in service of Lord, and they will not wander, or they will not do whatever they want to, or unnecessary or wasting time. This human life is so important. We can use them if we keep our senses under control, our senses engaged in Lord's service.
That's great, Mataji. Thank you. So, should Prabhupada give some examples? Vaishnavi, would you like to read? Of this.
Should I go?
Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal, and as a result, Kartikeya was born. When Haridasa Thakura was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi, but Haridasa easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. As illustrated in the above-mentioned verse of Sri Yamunacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord.
Okay, you can explain this.
Basically, there was two examples.
Oh, you can finish the sentence, sorry.
That is
That is the secret of sex.
Yeah.
So basically, there was two examples. One where Lord Shiva was disturbed by Parvati, and then so he basically failed in controlling the senses. But the second example is when Haridasa Thakura was where he passed the test because he wasn't disturbed by Maya Devi. So basically, they just give two examples where a sincere devotee has to watch their senses and keep engaged in spiritual life so they can be able to go up.
Right, it's all because you've tasted something higher that you can say no to something that is really the highest on the material platform. Because you know, like, oh no, this is way better. Chanting the holy name, nothing can beat that, right? And that's what Haridasa Thakur was going through. And then lastly, Krishna Prema, you can finish us off.
one who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail. For the slightest thought of the sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. So ultimately there's, if you think about power, like what is more powerful than thought? Realistically, it's nothing like you talked about at the beginning. Thoughts manifest your reality. So you can manifest as much as you want. All the mystic potencies, you can be like Hiranyakashipu and control the universe. But, exactly. But all that artificial repression, like he did all that austerity, all of the austerities, to gain all of this power and everything because I had this thought, I need to control the universe, I need to defeat Vishnu. He tried to gratify that desire, but ultimately it led to his failure. So that's why any artificial repression to gain some kind of power, even by just controlling the thoughts for mundane reasons, it will fail unless you're in Krishna consciousness.
100%. Yeah, this last line really stuck out to me because if the mind isn't engaged in Krishna consciousness, then even a small thought is undoing years of effort, just like any examples? Jamno, yes. Jamno, what happened to Jamno?
He was like a brahmana for most of his life. And then he saw something and then basically he kind of threw away his whole life.
He was contemplating the object of the senses. And so this is what we're seeing. It's just like, just living everyday life. A Jamno wasn't going out to find something. He just happened to encounter upon it. And especially in our everyday life, we can encounter upon so many things daily. But it is our choice if we choose to think about it for a longer period than necessary.
Sober.
Sober meaning, you give a little short?
Yeah. He was also he wasn't married, right?
No.
Is he married 50,000 daughters? Who was that?
No, that was him.
Yeah. Yeah, so what is the thought or what is the sight? What is the sight? How do you say it? Was it
The sight
Does-
led to
sight for
yeah.
example or no?
The sight.
He saw the sight and the thought came into his mind. And then he married 50,000 girls. And then the, I don't know, this is a good example?
I don't know so much about him.
He was in the water and he was submerged, and then he
Yeah, okay.
and then he saw the fish,
Yeah.
The
and then he
fishes.
was like, oh, I want to enjoy that as well.
That's how
So
the
then,
That's how the jump knows.
no, we're talking about
Oh,
strawberry moonies.
Oh.
Two different stories.
So what do you
I mean, yeah, no. From sight, you can actually thoughts develop from what you see and the senses that surround you. That's why we're contemplating the objects of the senses. So,
think the
Yeah.
story is not true.
oh, what you gonna
Fish story?
It's not true.
Snapshot.
PG, please.
So this Muni, he was doing his meditation in the water, as he does, and he saw a sight that completely caught him off guard. He saw two fish enjoying in the water together. That was pretty good, right? And he decided, wow, these fish, they're having such a good time. I want to enjoy materially like that too, just like those fish. And then, long story short, he married 50,000 wives, something like that.
That's real power.
Shavanamonios. Shavanamoni.
He was meditating inside of a tree.
Oh.
To be away from everything. And then the king with his daughter came to his abode, to his area. That was the hole that was inside of the tree. And she saw something inside of the hole. She poked with a stick. And then he saw her. And she was very beautiful. And then he became attached. So this one story, he made it, everybody has to be constipated. It's this whole crazy story. But in the end, he married her. But he was an old man. He was like 200 years old. So nothing. But he went inside of the lake with the what is their names? What are the names of the in the heavenly planets?
Upstairs?
No.
Nervous?
They like a medicine. The medicine guys, medicine brothers, huh? No.
Vaidya?
Names. Anyway, took him inside of the lake and he came back as a young boy. Ashwini Kumaras.
Wow. Yeah, so Shastras have so many examples. I mean, age doesn't matter. Your desires will happen no matter what age you are. But it is, again, your choice if you want to act on them. Sometimes attachment can come out of nowhere. Right. So we can always try to suppress our thoughts, push it away, but the more you fight, the more you fight your thoughts, the more so many answers. Whoa.
The more you fight, the more you win.
The more you fight, the more you win. How about that one?
What do you get crowd?
The more you fight, the more you get entangled.
The more you fight your thoughts, the more
They fight back.
the more they fight back.
Oh,
That was nice. So yeah, and then this is exactly where Arjuna steps in, and he talks about what a lot of us are thinking, of what a lot of us experience, but we might not always say out loud. After hearing Krishna speak about controlling the mind, like we had in the 6th chapter, was really about Krishna controlling the mind. So he responds, and this is in 634. How'd you go, Vinda? Oh, Vidhi, would you like to read this actually?
Chanchalangi mana Krishna, Brahmapi Balavadrutam, Tasyaham Nigraham Manye, Vayuriva Dushkaram.
Thank you. translation.
The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind.
Thoughts?
So fighting your thoughts is not going to work.
Nice.
Can we control the wind?
Arjuna could.
Arjuna could.
Oh,
He had the weapon to do it, so.
Are we Arjuna? I think not. That'll be a little bit hard. What are some words that stand out for you guys in this translation? Chanchala. Oh, Sanskrit. Turbulent. Another one?
Difficult.
Difficult. Very difficult. Restless. There's a lot of good words in this one. Two words that stuck out to me were turbulent and obstinate. Obstinate. Turbulent. When I think of the word turbulent, I'm thinking of airplane turbulence, and it does not feel good to be stuck in an airplane when there's a lot of turbulence. And Arjuna is comparing the mind to turbulence, and that is not a fun place for our soul to be in 24/7, right? And this is for lifetimes and lifetimes. We're just stuck in this airplane of turbulence that we cannot get out of, which is the mind. And then the other word, obstinate, does anyone know what that means?
Stubborn.
Yes, very stubborn. Do you have some stories of being stubborn? Of your mind being stubborn.
Of my own mind
Yes.
being stubborn?
Okay, in general, maybe. Not to be so specific.
Getting called out. Stand up.
Talk
about your stubbornness.
I know. Jeez. My own stubborn. Oh. I don't know. If I think stubborn, I mean, just shastically, I also think Dhruva Maharaj, like, as in stubborn, not that he was being convinced any other way, but he was so determined that he became sure that he would be stubborn.
And I think a lot of kids, like when we think of little kids, I'm like, oh, she's so stubborn, blah, blah, blah. No, that's very true.
And then also, I think, like, you know, our mentality, if for people who are not Krishna conscious, we have a baseline of being stubborn. You know, we don't like to have our mind and ideas changed. We kind of resist that. That's our default method, is to resist different opinions or different worldviews. Right off the bat, then we have to slowly be worked into it.
So how do you fight back, I guess, against that stubbornness?
Fight back. Well, I feel like humility might be a tool for not being so stubborn.
Can you read this verse, please?
No. Am I right?
625 speaks about humility, actually. Srila Prabhupada speaks about it. Next verse. But yeah.
So, because if you're humble, then you won't have such the conception that you have the right view and the right idea.
Very true. I guess stubbornness comes from, where do you think it comes from?
Pride. Ego.
It does come from pride, ego, and things from, because my way is the only right way, right? Because I want to have that cookie, I'm going to do whatever I can get to have that cookie, okay? $4. I didn't have $4, but I could do some service for the cookie, okay? So you can be very stubborn in that way. It's very easy because you think that you're always right, and that's where the stubbornness comes from. Because the mind is not, well, yes, it's not used to being challenged, because you constantly live within yourself, and it's very easy to just get stuck in that loop of thinking back and again, and you're like creating arguments in your head that you're constantly fighting with yourself. So you don't really have that view of the outside view. And that's what creates that stubborn mentality. So we can read the pervert. Who would like to? Rajendra Kumar Prabhu.
You don't have to do it again at this part. Do it again.
The mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence. Although mind is supposed to be subservient to intelligence. For a man in practical world, for a man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one has to establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy. But ultimately, no worldly man can do so. For this is more difficult than controlling the raging wind. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada said it best. I don't know what else I can add. I think it's so strong. Mind is so strong. He says here that the mind is supposed to be subservient to the intelligence, but if we don't give intelligence the correct direction, if we don't know, if we don't have humility, like unless we read Bhagavad Gita, we will not know that the intelligence gets direction from the soul in 342. But we don't know about the soul unless we read Bhagavad Gita. So we need to have humility so that we can listen to the right people, so that we can find ways to control the mind. And yeah.
I would say a big thing is that the mind is also very difficult because it has been trained like this, right? It has been fed the stimulation across all of our lifetimes, across these millions of years that we've been here. And so when we're suddenly asking our mind to sit still, listen to my intelligence, it's going to rebel because that is what the mind has been trained to do from the beginning, and because we have never properly also tried to train the mind. So that is the conditioning of the mind.
Oh, one example, like, controlling the mind is as difficult as controlling someone like Hari. He will not listen, and we have to figure out higher taste. We have to start from what he likes to get him under control. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, all these words from where are you saying this is restless, turbulent, very strong. That's the mind. We can continue. Next, Dana.
The individual is the passenger in the car of the material body, and intelligence is the driver. Mind is the driving instrument, and the senses are the horses. The self is thus the enjoyer or the sufferer in association of the mind and the senses. So it is understood by great thinkers, intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence. As an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of medicine, such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga. But such practice is never practical for a worldly person like Arjuna. And what can we say of modern man? The simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the blowing wind, and it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance, in all humility. The method prescribed is Sabhayamana Krishna. One must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only then will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind.
Okay, so humility was mentioned in this verse, but you can give your thoughts?
I would say, so I can use an example that works for myself. So I would consider myself smart enough to know that eating a whole box of cookies probably isn't a good idea. But once I open that package, it takes a lot to stop and put it away. But what has actually been working for me, especially because I like to snack and stuff, is just to bring myself back to Krishna and not overtake what I don't need. So, but it is very difficult, especially for food. You see food and you just want to keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
It's just very difficult, yes.
There's a lot. Yeah. Anyone else want to talk about prasadam and how difficult it is to control the senses? I know it's difficult for me. I overeat a lot, but it's fun. I don't know. I feel like if it's prasadam, it's okay sometimes. I give myself a little pass. Vachi Govinda, what about you, man? I feel like this is just for you. You do work out. That's the way you balance?
Maybe. I don't know.
maybe. Any thoughts? Any thoughts to give the audience? Give all of us?
Not at the moment.
All right.
That's a controlled mind, no thoughts.
That's the best way, man. But no, actually no. Not the best way is to think about Krishna. Okay, but no, Srila Prabhupada is not telling us to force the mind to stop. He is telling us to give the mind something higher to hold on to. And what is that higher thing we need to hold on to and grab really tightly? Yes, chanting the Maha Mantra. How? Humility. Yes. Was it you, Marisha, who spoke about humility and how humility means, or was it humbleness? Humbleness means to think of
not think of yourself as like lesser, but to think of yourself just less.
Yeah. So yeah, no, this is the mantra that we are chanting every single day to capture our difficult and turbulent mind. So I guess that's a lot. I don't know if everyone is thinking that the Maha Mantra, it feels like the mind is the most restless when it is chanting the holy name, which seems to go a little bit opposite of what is written here, but that's when you know it's hitting the hardest, right? And the reason why the Maha Mantra works is also because you're feeding the mind Krishna conscious content, right? Rather than just regular content that you are seeing from the outside world, we're taking in Krishna conscious content when we're chanting, and that's so difficult for our bodies to accept it because naturally we want to reject it. Because why? We are not serving our senses in that moment when we're chanting the holy name. We are serving Krishna, we are serving Guru and Gauranga. And that is so difficult for the mind to think that someone else is in control and it is not me. Right? And this is where that stubbornness of the mind comes. It is so obstinate, it is so restless and turbulent, and it is very strong. So we have all of these qualities, and still it's so hard for us. Imagine if we were just like this, but it was for Krishna instead. If we were restless to serve Krishna. How could we do turbulent, guys? Any ideas? We're turbulent if we don't serve? What is it? You have a little...
Yeah, I mean, like you're laying in bed, you have to do something like you have to do your taxes, and you can't sit down and do your taxes because you want to chant.
Is this from personal experience? That would be great, man. And if we're stubborn, we always want to serve Krishna and do nothing else, and very, very strong too. So all of these things, if we could just do this, and if we could just get to this point of making Krishna the center instead of making ourselves the center, because a lot of the times it's very easy to do a service and be like, wow, I did a really good job, right? And then who's in the center now? You're already taking Krishna out of the picture. So it's so easy to just remove Krishna from the center, because that is what we have been trained to do over not just this lifetime, but over all of our lifetimes, because every single person, a lot of us that we interact with, also views all of us as, because we are the center of our own worlds. We don't have anyone else that is the center sometimes, but when you become a parent, right, then your child becomes the center. So that definitely changes the way you view the world. But yeah, so this is really, really difficult to digest. And then Krishna speaks about this just a couple of verses before Arjuna speaks about the mind being restless, as to how we can control the mind, how we can understand it a little bit better, and maybe use it in Krishna's service and change that view from ourselves to Krishna. So, do we have any volunteers for this one? Yes, Krish.
Sanay sanayir uparamit buddhya driti krihitaya atma stam mana kritva na kinchit apichintayen. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone, and should think of nothing else. It's a hard verse.
can try.
Is it asking the mind to be fixed on the real self?
Asking the mind to be
I mean,
Max, you want to help us find out?
What am I helping? Summary?
He asked a question.
Oh, you're saying, is it asking the mind to fix the real self?
Real self.
Yeah, real self. Who's the real self?
The soul?
Yeah,
The soul.
super selfish.
And how do you know is the real self? From the text is.
Grammar. Look at the letters.
Look at the letter S. Small or
step by step. No.
Capital S. Capital S.
capital S.
Self.
Capital S.
Yes.
Self.
Yes.
Small s, self.
Yes.
Middle class.
Yes, yes. Yes, is Krishna.
Any words for you that kind of stick out? One word.
Self.
Capital S.
Capitalized in the middle of the sentence, okay. Anyone else have any words?
Conviction.
Intelligence? Who said conviction? Yes, that was for you too. So could you speak a little bit about it?
So, what I understood out of this verse is you're not the body, mind, ego, you are the soul. So if you have that conviction, if it is just a speculation that you have, right, then you will not be fully concentrated on your soul. It is only with full conviction, and that's why I believe it's mentioned gradually, step by step.
Yes.
You cannot arrive at it immediately. Based on my experience, that it's a step-by-step process. Your mind will trick you.
100%. Yeah, no, thank you so much. This is amazing. That was also the exact same word that really stuck out to me too, conviction. Because gradually, step by step, you have to be situated in trance. And how is it sustained? Our trance or samadhi, we can also say that, right? It is sustained by not just conviction, but by full conviction. Srila Prabhupada makes sure to say that. And the mind should be fixed on the self alone, and I should think of nothing else. But yeah, it is sustained by conviction.
Just a quick comment. I'm looking at Prabhupada's, the way he's putting this together, and also the way Krishna is speaking his Latin together. It's so much of studies going here to know ourselves, study ourselves. We're sitting in a temple of Krishna. We will think, go to Krishna, say our prayers, ask something from him, or to give some seva. But without these studies, going to temples doesn't make any sense to us. You know, step by step, very, for me, I like the word step by step. We have to situate ourselves, understand that we're going to die one day. And let's use our mind to intelligence to awaken the soul. And that's exactly what's going on there. Then we can think of Krishna properly. Otherwise, we come to Krishna for what? Give me his protection. Krishna, save me from protection. That's all I want. Nothing else I want. But the eventual message is from the Gita is how we can protect Krishna. And that's the way we can keep thinking about Krishna. Otherwise, we can think about ourselves anyways. We go to temple every day. But who do you think about? Krishna ourselves. Ourselves. We go to Krishna every day. What do we do? Give me my blessings, give me my daily bread, give me this, give me that, give me Krishna, come into your life, say, come into your life. Now, if you go to Krishna, think about Krishna, what do you need Krishna? What can I give you Krishna? Or you miss something, you miss some flowers are less there or something, I can bring you more, some bhoga, some rice, dal, give me some, I can give you more. This is much more practical. So that's why I'm looking at this the way he's studying it. Now, you should think of nothing else but the capital S stands for Sham Sundar.
Yeah, I mean, this process is not going to come very easily. So now you'd like to say something?
Can I have some thoughts?
No thoughts? She's in trance, yeah?
No turbulence.
Yeah. No, it's very true. We have to have conviction, and conviction is not something that just happens immediately. It takes time, and you have to walk a lot of steps to get convicted, especially not convicted. Sorry. Okay, let's not be convicted to get convinced in Krishna consciousness. Krishna is telling us that if we want our mind to stop troubling us, we must cultivate certainty in Krishna consciousness, and that is what gives our mind stability. So I guess I have a lot of questions for you guys on this one about conviction and what that really means for you guys, because to be fully convinced that Krishna consciousness is this, and this is the Krishna consciousness is the path, and that's how your mind can become stable. That's a lot, right? That's a lot of pressure to have, to put on yourself to be fully convinced. So what does it mean, I guess, for you, Marisha, to have conviction? Question mark?
Like to be convinced?
To be convinced, yeah. What does it take for you to be convinced, just in general? You have the mic there.
I mean, I guess when it works, like I see it in my life, like, you know, anybody can say anything, but if I experience it myself, I think I'm convinced. Of course, that doesn't work for everything. I can't experience everything in this life, but also, like, somebody qualified speaks on it, then I'm more convinced.
Iris, do you have any thoughts on this? About conviction and being convinced?
The difference or like the definition of what
I guess in your life,
Okay.
what does it take for you to be convinced by something?
It actually comes from a place deep inside of me. So like from my connection with God, which is usually a voice that tells me where to go. And along with that conviction comes with lots of discipline, because once I believe in something, I will do my best to go in that direction, and that's discipline. It's like my decision of going there.
Yeah, 100%, and like that's very true. That's a really great point that you brought up. That conviction is not just about what you feel; it also adds a lot of other elements like discipline too. Because when you are convinced about something, we also start acting in ways to get closer to that thing that we are convinced by. Avinash, Ishan, would you like to say something?
Hare Krishna. Yes, conviction comes from understanding, and this understanding comes from experience, like everybody's saying. And it reminds me the verse, Tisham Satata Jiputanam Bhajatam Briti Purvakam Dadami Puri Yoganitam, which means that by the thoughts of Satatam, always thinking of Krishna, Krishna will give the intelligence from within. So to be able to receive this intelligence from within, which will brings the conviction, is necessary to have the thoughts always thinking of Krishna.
Yes.
And answering the previous verse when Arjuna was talking about is more difficult than the wind, you know, that's the following verse. Krishna says, yes, he agrees. And he said, but you can do it with a proper practice. And the proper practice is Bhakti Yoga, like the verse Maktita, Magdata Pranam, right? Your thoughts always in Krishna. So
Yeah, I like what you
ties up
said.
with the beginning of your talk.
Yeah,
with the
about
thoughts.
conviction comes from understanding too. And I think a big part about understanding is also, it comes from experience, like you said too, Prabhu. But understanding, from the beginning parts of understanding, is you have to read a little bit, right? Once you read, you experience, it all kind of simultaneously comes together. So when we're reading Srila Prabhupada's books, this conviction is slowly building upon each other, right? So this is that gradually, step by step, that Krishna is speaking about here. So this is conviction. Does anyone else?
Association.
Association, very true.
Yeah, association.
I would say conviction will come from your own experience. Yeah, I would say conviction will come from your own experience rather than from belief or somebody else explaining you something to believe in.
Yes.
So it's your own experience that you experience little by little. So that's how you build your conviction.
Yeah, very true. And that gets built upon, like what Prabhu said, by associating with the same people who have felt that same experiences and that same understanding too. Yes, Vidhi?
I would just say we have to be careful with our own experience driving our understanding, because our material senses are limited, and I think that when we only depend on that, then that becomes more of a hindrance rather than something that will help us. Sometimes we have to rely on the wisdom from our ajaya's and the scripture and stuff like that to tell us, because we don't have always the ability to be able to experience some of this stuff.
True. Our senses are
great point.
No, but even at,
Yeah.
forget the charges, even at work, can you do things their own way? Oh no, I will treat this patient like this way. If you become too emotional, then you can't treat the person, right? You have to follow the procedures. I know it's gonna hurt you, but I'm gonna hurt you with the injection, whatever is it, right?
Good shastra sadhu, right?
Yeah, no, that's good on the spiritual level, but material level too. We don't follow our own thing, our own way.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw $1 there. I can pick it up and put it in the donation box. Good thought, but that's stealing. It's not your money, right?
Oh, I
Give it to
see.
somebody else. That point is important. That's how sometimes we think, I have good intentions, but the means is wrong, the destination is wrong.
Let's steal the flowers from the neighbors.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. Bro, you got
When I read this verse before, the one thing that my mind was, he's saying mind should be fixed on the self, rather than saying mind should be fixed on me. Like Krishna didn't say, he said, your mind should be fixed on the self, because if you discover your own self, you will gradually come to Krishna, because Krishna is a Paramatma. So I think he was kind of like, pulling us in, but at the same time, first get to know yourself and then you can.
This is actually mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in the, I believe, Nectar of Devotion, the preface or introduction, somewhere there, where it says that, I'm not sure if I can say it correctly, but real self-realization comes from realizing your own self, or something like that. It's like one cannot exist without the other. We cannot realize Krishna without understanding us, and we cannot understand us without realizing Krishna. Yeah.
And it goes back to the Upanishads where they say, Aham Brahmasmi, Ayam Atma Brahma, Pragyana Brahma, Tattvamasi. So.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. Thank you all so much for this. It was amazing discussions we're having. We can read the purport. You can start.
By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahara. The mind being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation from the senses should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in the material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with matter, as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of the Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Couple of words. I know we discussed a lot about the translation, but if anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same message I get is focus on Krishna, don't get involved in sense gratification. That is the only way of getting out of this, because you cannot control the mind in any other way.
Yeah. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada says, as long as one is involved with matter, which we are all involved with matter for as long as we live, as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. That's a very heavy line. It's very hard not to even think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of the Supreme Self. And yeah, so this is...
At some point of time, your body will give away, right? So what will you do with your sense gratification when your body gives away? Mind will not cease to exist. It will continue.
Very true. Yeah. Adi Prabhu, would you like to say anything about this? Or what we read, anything?
Not really. Everything was said, I think. But now, I think I was just telling Krishna Prema, which one of the acharyas is a beat mind?
Bhava Michael Thakur?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant.
It's funny, but that's what we have to do. It's literally, it's hard to control the mind, but at the same time we can feed the good stuff to the mind where, we will be fully controlling the mind in a way, because it's very, as Arjuna said, it's very difficult to control.
Yes.
But at least we can guide it in the right direction by giving Krishna consciousness, the Mahamantra, the Srila Prabhupada books, association. So.
Yeah, no, we have so many things, especially in our Krishna conscious movement. Srila Prabhupada has given us everything, all the tools that we need to control our mind. right? Just like you said, Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada has given us association. He has created a family all over the world just for us. He has given us the books. He's given us all this literature that speaks about processes on how we can control and understand our mind. And then he also gives us the Mahamantra. Prashad is the best one. That's hard, man. Sometimes the mind goes a little out of control. That one, I don't know so much, but yeah.
But I mean, it's like, it's good things for the mind. It's not like,
Yes.
things that's offered to the Lord. It's better to eat that than eat that is not offered.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. No, because every time you see food, you have to remember, is this offered? Is this not offered? And your friends, when you go through, you have to look through, oh, I have to offer this. Okay, now we go. So you're always thinking of Krishna when you're seeing all these foods.
So prasadam is very, very potent. Like, what's his name? Prime Minister was saying, prasadam cleans from inside out. Like, your consciousness is in your blood. So when you consume prasadam, it goes into your bloodstream, and that's how you get purified from inside.
Yeah, actually, the story of Rikrisha Maharaj, he told a story once, and it was back in the early days. He was just like joining ISKCON, starting out everything, and he was like chanting on the beats. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada in the temples, they used to have like a little gulab jamun container, right? Like a big container of gulab jamuns. So every time Maharaj would finish a round, he would get a gulab jamun from the container, eat that. So that's like his little what is it, like, reward, yeah, a little reward that he was giving himself. So just like that, that's how he finished all of his 16 rounds, by eating one gulab jamun at a time until he gets to 16. So it's a great way, I mean, that's what kept him, the gulab jamuns. But yeah, so just like that, prasadam really changes. 16, that's a lot.
2 hours.
16 and 2 hours, you have to space them out. But yeah. So yes, so then lastly I have the last verse here. Now we're going into Chaitanya Charitamrita. Wow. How do we do this? In the 2 beats style.
Okay. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoyo Sadhu Sangha Krishna Prema Janme Tenho Pona Mukhya Anga. The root cause, translation, the root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still the most essential. Wow. No comments right now.
How can someone live without association with the devotee?
Some do. Some have to be on their own.
Some
Some people have to be on their own. Yeah, there are some devotees who have to be on their own. I know that is also. But there's in the Bible like that. Cosmos.
The spiritual world is only devotion.
Yeah. Krishna cannot exist without his devotees too.
So this is something that we need to work on and accept it. The first thing. We must associate with devotees and we must be devotees. Root cause of devotional service. So if we if we want to do the service to Krishna without the association of devotees, that's a problem. I'll do the service, but not with these people here. I'm alone, when they're there, they'll tell me, oh, we miss this spot, or something like that, right? So that's something like this. Like one example, Prabhupada, one devotee said to Prabhupada, I want to do service, but I don't want to listen to this person. It was one person, somebody else said, I don't work with him, I cannot work with him. But whatever you tell me, I'll do Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, okay, I'm telling you, walk under him and do the service. So he had to accept it, but anyways. So the key for me, even that sleeping love for Krishna awakens, association is still more important. I could say Krishna, but I make sure that my association is continuing. Yeah, that's all I want to do.
Yeah, so Prabhu, would you like to say anything on this?
It is. voice gone low.
I think Prabhu already explained it's more about association, and the first thing is even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, how do we know if it is awakened for us? Is there a way to know?
Is there a way to know when we are always associating with advanced devotees?
Okay.
If
good.
we're, yeah.
Good. No, very good. Good question. So what should we want to know? That am I in the association of devotee? That's more important. Even awakens or not awakens. I'm in association of devotees, I'm good. That's enough. Okay. That's enough.
Yeah, I think it's because I think of Maharaj Bharat's story, because even though he was Krishna conscious, he was pure devotee of the Lord, but because he went to the forest to stay in the trance and then serve the Lord, but since he was not in association because of the slight thought, and then he had to he stopped doing the proper devotional service, so he had to take birth again in the years. So.
Yeah. Yeah, our environment also determines our thoughts, right? We all agree? Yes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, Marisha, what you said with the story of Pajamil. He was in an environment that fed his thoughts. With the story of Sobrimuni, he was also in that environment. So all of these times we're seeing where people are contemplating the objects of our senses is because sometimes, knowingly or unknowingly, we are in an environment where those thoughts can be provoked, right? But what is here mentioned is we have association with advanced devotees. Sadhu Sangha can act as a filter. When we are in this environment, we might be in an unstable, right? We're in modern day society. We can't stop anything from happening. Things are going on all around us. And we also cannot lock ourselves in our home to make sure that nothing can affect us, because we need devotee association on a daily basis. So yes, we may see some things that are unpleasant here and there that might agitate our mind. But as long as we associate with devotees, what happens? We're always thinking of Krishna, and this is the next stage, is that our dormant love for Krishna will also awaken. And this also starts from association, because it starts from our environment, right? And what is the environment here at Bhakti House? Good. Is it 1 thumbs up or 2 thumbs up? 2 thumbs up. Yeah. So this is what we have cultivated. This is what Srila Prabhupada himself has cultivated. He has cultivated the association so that our environment, we are always taking in the good. We are always taking in the good. Like Jagannath's eyes. What do they say about Jagannath's eyes? Why is his eyes so big? Krishna Prema?
He's the Lord of the universe. He needs to see everybody.
He does need to see everybody. There's another one.
Oh, it's for his path. The reason why related to.
No, not the past.
Oh, the actual.
Just like they say that Jagannath's eyes, we should have eyes like Jagannath, where he always, yeah.
Does he see everything?
Yeah, he does see everything.
He can see from all the directions.
All the directions. What did he say about you, Govinda?
He's always looking at all the devotees.
Looking at the devotees. He's always taking in the good. His eyes are always big, and he's always seeing the good in all of us. That's what Amrita Prabhu said. And then, who was it in Shri Rama? Did he see his eyes are closed?
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Sidetrack. Alright, but yeah, so no, we should always be looking at the good in devotees. And how can we do it? By associating with people who also see the good in others, right? They say something about we are who our friends are or something like that. What is the actual?
Your association makes you.
What is it?
Your association makes us.
Your
Our
association?
makes us.
Our association makes us, and that's what Mahabharata is. So yeah. So thoughts might arise, and this is a really big point that I would like everyone, hopefully, if they take 1 point away from today's class, hopefully it can be this point. So many thoughts might come into our mind. We cannot always control the thoughts that come into our mind, right? But we can control, or we can choose which thoughts we want to focus on. Does everybody agree with that? Is it easy for everyone to do?
No.
Analysis.
Practice
It is-
practice makes perfect.
Gradually, step by
I
step.
mean, you can use Krishna as example. You can focus.
Focus on chanting through the rewards of eating gulab jamuns.
Train yourself like this, but you can eat.
Yes.
Then when sugar is high, then you can't even eat, but it's still to chant. So. Manisha.
Yeah.
Oh, there's like the calendar by Chaitanya Prabhu where it's like a quote every day from Bhagavad, based on Bhagavad Gita verses. And the one today was intelligence means looking at our thoughts and seeing which one should be pinned and which one should be binned.
Wow.
I didn't come up with that, but that stuck out with me too.
Memorize that. Wow.
Because it stuck out so much. I was like, oh, that's such a nice way to put it.
One devotee to associate is Manisha.
Yes. Prabhu, you have something to say?
About the advanced devotees. So who is the advanced devotees? All the other devotees, but not me.
That's true. Yeah. And a lot of the time, sometimes we might not be able to see, we cannot always see who is advanced too, right? But we should always think of, I want to associate with people who are trying to advance, right? And that's who we all are. We are all trying to advance. We have to associate with people who have that sincerity in them. I want to be better. People who are not satisfied with, oh, I'm coming to temple every Sunday and that's good for me, eating the prasadam every day, I'm done, right? No, we are trying to advance, and trying to advance, what does that mean? It means to reach Srila Prabhupada's books. It means I want to get better at chanting, so I'm going to try my best and focus on my chanting, even though so many thoughts are running into my mind, but I'm trying to advance. So we have to highlight these issues in our daily lives. You cannot always be satisfied. And this is where it all comes from, right? We always have to start with that. But Govinda, your hand is raised. Hi. You must speak now.
You must speak now?
Yes.
You must speak.
Yeah, association is important, and also differentiating who is good association for you. Because yes, we can say everyone is devotee except for me, but at the same time, devotees are not always the same, and some devotees have different agendas, different goals, so you need to make sure that your goals are also aligned with the devotees that you're associated with.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, selection is allowed. Prabhupada has the best time with Jamuna. She was living outside of the temple in London. And you know the story? You know the story?
No, go ahead.
And then she was, concerned. The devotees are saying, "Where am I, Srila Prabhupada?" Because we're not there. And Prabhupada said, association is 2 or 200. You can associate with the ones that will inspire you and encourage you to advance. The ones that are not inspiring you, not advance you, Krishna, your respectful obeisances, but you stay there, I'm going to go this way. So Prabhupada explained like that. And also he said, oh, we're not chanting Hare Krishna there at the temple, so we're in Maya. So Prabhupada, no. ISKCON is where someone is chanting Hare Krishna. Because it's International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So where someone is chanting Hare Krishna, that's ISKCON. That's what Srila Prabhupada said.
Cool. Thank you so much. That was amazing. But yeah, so again, with Srila Prabhupada, we can only distinguish, right, our thoughts, which thoughts we want to focus on, which thoughts we don't want to, with the help of someone else. And that's exactly what you said, Vidhi, about conviction, where conviction comes from experience, but sometimes we also want to double check our experience and make sure that we're not imagining things too, right? It's really easy to let our mind run and take us somewhere else that was not what actually happened. So there's a story, Virginia Kumar Prabhu, you spoke about Dhruva Maharaj, and how Dhruva Maharaj was able to also, we can use this in our everyday life, he turned his negative thought of, I want to be better than, I guess, my brother or something else, And he turned that into a positive one, where he wanted to serve Krishna. And the way he was able to distinguish, or he was able to transform his thought into something else, was with the help of someone else, was with the help of Narada Muni. So in the same way, we also always need to make sure to have someone in our life to be able to guide us when we are having when we are making a big decision. Dhruva was making a big decision. The demigods were getting antsy when he was doing his meditation. So I don't know if I said that word right. Antsy. Okay, they were getting a little bit perplexed when Dhruva was doing meditation. So in that way, we also need to make sure that we have someone that we can reach out to when things are going a little bit downhill, or maybe in a direction that we just didn't really consider about. So it's very important to have some sort of guidance, some sort of teacher in your life that you can always reach out to, just like Dhruva Maharaj had. And that was the power of thought. Just because of his teacher, Dhruva Maharaj was able to turn his negative thought into a very positive one, to saying Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya every single day. So yes, that will conclude the class today. If anyone has any comments or questions, please feel free.
Yes. When is when and where will be the moment that we will be completely thinking of Krishna, and the mind will be completely focused on Krishna? What will be the moment, that activity, that 100% the mind, intelligence, everything will be there in Krishna?
The moment that will happen.
Yeah. Or action. Activity.
Okay. I don't think there is a moment or an action or activity, but I think it's a culmination of moments, the culmination of activities, and the culmination of actions that you do to get yourself to that place where your mind is focused. You know?
Yes. But what about when you're sharing Krishna consciousness? You're completely focused. And the mind is completely focused. So when you share this knowledge to others, your mind will be there. It's very powerful. You have to try.
That's important. I think that's the best part about reading Srila Prabhupada's books too, because it's you can read it, you can understand it, you can digest it as one thing, but to speak about it means, and to explain it to somebody else, that really truly means that you understand it. And that's what really keeps you on track, when you actually say the words that come out, when the words come out of your mouth. It's when it really, what is it? It actually, I don't know the word, but it actually sticks then. When you actually speak. What? Conviction. That's when the conviction comes. Yeah, when you can convince others, that means that you yourself are convinced too. And it all starts from speaking. It all starts from talking about Srila Prabhupada's books.
So back to one of the earlier purports we were reading, and Srila Prabhupada talked about Arjuna not being able to control the wind, let alone the mind, and then said, what to speak of the common man in the modern day. Actually, if we look at the modern day, when you have your social media, what is that called that curates everything? The algorithm. The algorithm is a modern representation of the mind. It just throws stuff at you constantly. But interesting enough, this is a way that you can actually modify your algorithm. Same way where we alter our environment to make it conducive to spiritual life, you can actually modify your algorithm. I actually found if you watch, let's say you're going and looking at reels, you're doom scrolling. If you watch a reel more than 2 or 3 times and you just let it repeat over and over, that tells the algorithm, oh, this person is interested, so let me show you more of that. So if you watch Iskon of Orlando's reels multiple times, over and over again, not only is it going to show you more of our reels, but it will also show you other temple pages and other bhakti pages that are also producing spiritual content, and you can actually change your algorithm.
But you have to like.
But you have to like, you have to comment, so you have to engage with it, and also you have to do it repetitively. So it's not like you associate with a sadhu once. Perfect, I'm a pure devotee. There were millions of people who probably saw Srila Prabhupada on the street or even heard him chanting, but the entire world's not Krishna conscious. Even some of the Prabhupada disciples who only saw Srila Prabhupada once, they maybe physically saw him once, but they still repeatedly associated with him through letters, through his books, So that's the way they modified their algorithms so that they could be Krishna conscious.
Prabhupada saw his guru only twice.
Exactly. Srila Prabhupada saw his guru twice, but he constantly, like we mentioned earlier, meditated on his guru's instructions over and over and over again to the point where he manifested it and it became his reality. And now we have this come.
So yeah, I guess that's the question, is that how can we modify our algorithms? How can we modify our environments? And how can we add Krishna in everything? And it all starts, I think, with association, to see what other people are doing. So take time, maybe during Prasadam, if you would like, to talk to your little neighbors, whoever's there.
If one word, one sentence, if I would make a summary of this class, one thought we can all take back with us: how can I satisfy or please Krishna? Keep the thought, and everything will come together.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so with that, we can wrap up today's class.